Hi, everyone. My name is Claire Bélanger-Parker, and I'm the Executive Director of the Crane Rental Association of Canada. Today, I'd like to wish you a very warm welcome from Regina, Saskatchewan. And I am thrilled to be able to introduce to you the leadership team of Link-Belt Cranes for this very special showcase. First of all, I'd like to do our land acknowledgement as we journey toward reconciliation. We acknowledge the land we are situated on, covered by Treaty 4 and the traditional territory of the Cree, the Saulteaux, the Ojibwe, the Lakota, Dakota, Nakota, and the homeland of the Métis. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis and Inuit, whose footsteps have marked the land across Turtle Island, also known as North America, for centuries. Wherever you are joining us from, take a moment to reflect on our history and how we are all affected by this shared history with our First Nations people, as we are all treaty people. Today, I am joined by a very good friend of the Crane Rental Association of Canada, someone you have had the pleasure to meet many, many times at the annual conference. Pat Collins began his career with Link-Belt in 1979 in the Field Service Department of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He served as District Service Representative in the Rocky Mountain region beginning in 1981. And in 1989, he became Product Manager for Lattice and Telescopic Cranes. In 2013, Pat was named Director of Product Marketing at Link-Belt. Pat has attended many, many conferences over the years, and he's joining us today from Kentucky, right?
Right.
So Pat, welcome. It's good to see you.
Hi, Claire. It's good to see you. This is great. How have you been?
Pretty good. It's winter here. We've been shoveling and getting ourselves out of the snowbank already, but I'm looking forward to spring already. It is what it is. It's winter in Saskatchewan and it's totally unpredictable. And I can't wait to see you back in person at the next conference. And I'm sure that you have attended more live events in the US than we have here in Canada. So tell me about the last time you were at a live event.
Well, going back, we were all at ConExpo and things were pretty good back then. Well, they were starting to not be so good. In fact, we left ConExpo a little early and got home, and we all hunkered down like you did. And although Link-Belt was deemed as an essential service, along with many others in the crane service down here in the States, but we stayed open. We've had to navigate, and we've had our ups and downs. We haven't been unscathed in this thing by any means, but we've been through it. And we opened our campus up. I guess it would be July. We've been closed through all of that time, opening up in July of this year, and have kind of come out since then more and more. It's pretty much every day right now. Of course, we're having more and more cases here with this latest flare, but all in all, it's pretty much business as usual, or getting back to whatever that is. It's not winter time here yet. It's green, the leaves are coming down, but it's going to get cold here in next week. So we'll be there with you. I don't know. We don't have quite the same climate, but as far as getting out, September, we were up to the fall workshop, the Specialized Carriers and Riggers fall workshop in Chicago. So that event was well attended. That was really probably the first major event in our industry, really, I think, in North America. And they exceeded their budget for their numbers they were expecting. I think they had over 400 people there. And then just 3 weeks ago or so, SCNRA's annual meeting, they're off time because of all this craziness. Mm-hmm. So their annual meeting, which is normally in the spring, was held 3 weeks ago in San Antonio. And they had over 550 people there. It was very well attended. So it looks promising for next year. We're looking forward to getting together. Certainly, Crane Rental Association of Canada. It's been too long
Yes, it has been, Pat. So I know we've got a full program this morning or today. I've got to stop saying morning, afternoon, and we live in such a big country. We've got a great program. So I am turning the mic over to you, Pat, to introduce us to the great team that you've been hiding from me all those years.
Okay, well, we're coming out now, Claire. Thanks to you. Thanks to you.
Over to you, Pat.
Technology showcase here. Thank you very much. Hey, hi, everybody. It's great to be at least in communication with everybody again, to our friends with the Crane Rental Association of Canada. Cranes across Canada right here, east to west, north to south, and all the different types of our product here. We enjoy, providing the goods up there and supporting those machines through our distributors. So appreciate you very much. Shot of a few machines. You might recognize some of those landscapes there. Moving on, just to get you fast, we have a saying around here. It's called "Death by PowerPoint." We're gonna promise not to do that to you. We're gonna keep it moving and give you the high level view here. Just a little bit about Link-Belt and the people who you have the most to deal with, or you might see their names or come in contact with. We'll start at the top. Our president, Melvin Porter. Melvin's, he's been with Link-Belt over 20 years. I don't know his exact years of service, but he's a veteran here and came up through the numbers side, but is a real hands-on guy, has a very strong mechanical aptitude and understands our business very well. Next, a name you all, I'm sure, know far better than mine, Bill Stramer. Bill's my boss. He's Senior Vice President of Marketing, Sales, and Customer Support. So he touches everything near and dear to most of you. In fact, Bill goes back with Crane Rental Association of Canada I think to the beginning, I'm pretty sure. He was, he's been a board member. He's moved through the whole process, but I know Bill was involved and knew the founding members of CRAC very well. In fact, interestingly enough, we were talking the other day, and I don't think we've ever missed a CRAC meeting. So we're very proud of that. And again, our association with CRAC. So Bill is my boss, and he heads up, as I said, the marketing side of things, the sales side, and the product support. So again, my name is Pat Collins. I'm Director of Product Marketing. And at Link-Belt, product marketing, an interesting way to think about it is your current products. It's our product development, what's coming next and what's new. And of course, our legacy machines, what we've had in the past, still working out there that we need to, maintain documentation on and answer questions to. So that's the marketing side of things. You'll meet Gary Lane moving over a little bit. Gary's manager of North American sales, and Gary heads up our field sales force throughout North America. And Bruce Cavlin, who is manager of marketing communications, which touches a lot, everything from our branding to our trade show participation to our electronic footprint, be it the website or product support, and on and on. So we'll talk to Bruce a little bit as well. So get to see and meet some of the folks who make it happen here in Lexington. The history slide comes up. Don't worry, I'm not going to give you the long of that. I could. I get tagged with this historian thing, and I guess it's my age, but I'll take it. That's fine. But just a quick thumbnail on Link-Belt. The biggest thing is people have no idea about the name, and it really started back 1874, which interestingly, we're the same age as the Kentucky Derby. So when you see the horses going off the first Saturday in May, think of us right here in Kentucky. But the idea was, guy, William Ewart, thinks of a concept of the chain, which was power transmission back in the 1800s, as you know, it was all mechanical. It was either chain or belts or gears. And the problem with chain was it would break because of uneven wear and stop all action, all work, production in the field, whatever. They'd have to go back to the blacksmith shop or to the barn and start over with the chain. His idea was basically put the chain link in an unnatural or non-running position and slide it out of its mating chain piece. And thus you get a fast replacement in the field of a chain. That's really, it was off to the races, so to speak, from there. They took that idea and incorporated hundreds and thousands of patents in transmission, power transmission for the next 50 years. But it really catapulted Link Belt Company, that's the term Link Belt, into a power transmission company throughout North America. And in fact, as part of that, you can imagine moving raw materials, bulk materials, coal, gravel, whatever, conveyor systems, gave way to them designing pulleys, chains, conveyor systems, belts, and pillow block bearings, and powering whole factories. Once you have steam power, fine, how do you drive all those machines inside? So it was a lot of engineering and a lot of manufacturing. Thus, the Link Belt Company was formed all over North America, Canada, and the US with heavy engineering. So since they were in all these facilities, they needed to handle the coal. So it simply was a necessity. How do we handle coal for all these factories? They built wide gauge steam powered cranes. And thus that got them going into the crane business. And fast forwarded to the early 1920s, they had a full line of crawler cranes as well. And thus Link Belt was fully engaged into the crawler crane manufacturing and sales throughout North America. 1939, they bought Speeder Machinery Company, a small affiliate in the small side. And so it rounded out the complete line. And in 1954, that company created the flagship model, the LS98. And that really took off. Full function, Speedomatic, all that stuff. And Link Belt was part of the record books after that. But you go to 1962, it's a pretty important date. In 62, Link Belt, headquartered then in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, from Chicago, said, you know, we can't build and ship cranes to the Far East and be competitive. So they sought out a friendly suitor, if you will, Sumitomo Corporation in the Far East, heavy manufacturer, one of the very large companies in Japan, already building ships and some other construction equipment. They sought them out and they signed a marketing engineering agreement. Says, look, build the Link Belt 98 here in your part of the world. You take care of the Far East, and when you ship one, send us a royalty. And thus the relationship with Link Belt and Sumitomo was forged way back in 62. So that set that. That was for their market. Then in 67, FMC Corporation, huge conglomerate out of Chicago, bought Link Belt Company, lock, stock, and barrel, and spun off the construction equipment or the crane part to form the construction equipment group of FMC. And man, FMC poured a ton of money into the business. We'd already had a plant in Woodstock, Ontario, but they put plants in Milano, Italy, Querétaro, Mexico, Sao Paulo, Brazil, and in 74 came down here in 75 and opened 2 plants in Kentucky. So it was a huge expansion time for Link Belt, FMC Link Belt. In 1986, FMC saw that the business was not going to be what it was once planned to be. The construction equipment business was not going to need the capacity they had, so they were going to downsize, and then decided to get out of the whole goods business altogether and sold Link Belt Cranes to that company back in 62, Sumitomo. Sumitomo saw the value of Link Belt. We had grown into a good partner, and they bought the Link Belt Construction Equipment Group, known as it was then, entirely from FMC. And ever since then, Sumitomo's basically been our owner, and a good owner they have been. We always say, you know, we don't have to meet quarterly stock meetings or public releases of information. Our owners think in terms of decades. What's good for us for the next 10 years, not the next 10 months. So that's really, that's a great way to operate, and makes for a very solid team. Today, as I said, we're here in Lexington, Kentucky. So we're headquartered here, consolidated here in 86, and then it's taken off from there since then. So there's worse places to be in the crane business. We're in Lexington. It's a great place. By the way, come see us. But it's a great place to be, to work, and to live. Got a little video for you here. There you go. So as I said, our headquarters are here in Lexington, Kentucky, and our entire staff, everyone is headquartered out of here. So we, as a result of that, like to think we stay in pretty close contact with what's going on in the market. And part of that is our sales efforts in North America. So to talk about those sales efforts in North America and specifically in Canada, I'd like to introduce our North American Crane Sales Manager to you, Mr. Gary Lane, who is going to join us here.
I'm Gary Lane, North American Sales Manager here at Link-Belt in Lexington, Kentucky. Excited to be a part of the Manufacturer Showcase. Want to spend a few minutes to go through how we go to market, how we cover Canada from east to west. My history, a little bit about me, I've been with Link-Belt since since February. I came in as North American Sales Manager and relocated from Minnesota to the Lexington area. I'm not a Canadian, but I have lived in Minnesota twice, so I think that's almost qualifies as honorary Canadian. But anyway, I also, in a former position, worked for McCain Foods, and a subsidiary of McCain Foods, and they were based in Centerville, New Brunswick, so got to spend a lot of time in that part of the world, really nice part of the world, and always enjoyed the people and the experience and just the relationships up there. So excited to be a part of this group. It'd be nice when we get out of the bunker and get to put faces with names and actually go to a function, but for now, this will have to work. So we'll go ahead and move on into how we cover Canada from a sales, and I will touch on the service end of it as well. So here's our map of Canada by province. We have 4 dealers that cover Canada, and we do have a little bit of open territory, but starting in the east, Consultants Drapeau out of Montreal or close to the Montreal area. They cover Eastern Canada, the Maritimes, New Brunswick, PEI. Equipment Sales and Service based in Toronto. They cover Ontario as their eastern portion. And then we have a division of Able Crane, which is called Delta, is our dealer in Winnipeg, and they cover Manitoba. We technically have an open territory in Saskatchewan, and then we cover Western Canada with Equipment Sales and Service out of Edmonton, Alberta. And of course, they have the tar sands out there and everything related to that, a lot of mining, and they actually go all the way to British Columbia now. So that is how we go to market in Canada. Canada has been a very good crane market for us overall, truck cranes, rough terrains. Historically, I think we've had a strong market presence in Canada, appreciate our relationships up there. The sales managers that cover Canada, right now we have Sam Maroney. Sam is based in Maryland and covers kind of the East Coast, the Northeast United States, and Eastern Canada. Sam is a crane industry veteran, has worked for Grove and Terex and other manufacturer, and does a really good job taking care of our dealers and supporting the customers in that part of the world. Greg George is another crane industry veteran. He's been with us a couple of years. Greg's based in the central United States, and he covers Manitoba on west. Greg was a prior dealer retail salesman and is now a manufacturer's a sales manager for us and doing a great job out there. Greg came on right before ConExpo in 2020, so a lot of his experience with Link-Belt has been during COVID or that entire experience, and I know he's eager to get out to Western Canada and get to meet the folks out there. So on the service side, these folks don't report to me, but we're talking territory, so I wanted to talk to you about just who we have up there. And Kevin Valentine and Drew Wagner. Kevin Valentine is we call him district service representative. He's our DSR based out of New York and covers Drapeau in Quebec and East. And then Drew Wagner is based in Michigan, and he covers ES&S for us entirely from Ontario all the way to BC. And so we have sales and service coverage throughout. And if feel like we've got a really good team put together, do a pretty good job of taking care of our dealers and keeping things up and running. So that's kind of the sales organization in a nutshell. Like I said, based here out of Lexington, Kentucky, eager to get back to something more normal down the road, eager to get participate in a CRAC conference and get to put some faces with names, and always available. If you have any questions or anything we can do for you, please let us know. Thanks.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it. It's a good shot of kind of what we're dealing with weather-wise. You can see out the window there for Lexington right now. So, speaking of weather, I understand we've got some very bad weather going on in Western British Columbia. We're feeling for you folks up there with all the rain. Claire was talking with us about it before we went on today. So, special shout out to everybody out there dealing with those problems. We feel for you. We have some of that from time to time in Eastern Kentucky, but not to the magnitude I think you're seeing out there right now. Claire, you had asked me about where I'd been and what's been going on. I mentioned the Specialized Carrier and Rigger event, but prior to that in September, we had our own event here. Our Crane Fest 2021 took place, and it was a 4-day event for us. And it was very big. We had upwards of 800 people here in 4 different events. So we showcased and unveiled some new product at that event in late September. So that was the lead off to the October activities. So that you've probably seen some of that in some of the trade publications, which brings us into a discussion with product right now. So what I'd like to do is introduce some guys to you from a product standpoint. Our product managers here at Link-Belt in the marketing department, who we chartered the responsibility of these different segments with. We've got, really, we break it down in 3 groups. One is on highway, which calls for all our all-terrains and our truck cranes. That's Mr. Andrew Soper. Andrew heads up that. And then we have Kelly Feaster, who takes care of our crawler crane segment. And lastly, we have Brian Elkins, who takes care of the RTs. So we're going to turn it over to them right now and have them take us through a little bit of the product segment.
Hello, my name is Brian Elkins, and I'm product manager for rough terrain cranes here at Link-Belt. We currently offer 7 different models, and 5 of our models are built right here in Base 7 at our manufacturing facility in Lexington, Kentucky. We incorporate a lot of different safety features, simplicity, serviceability features in all of our rough terrain cranes. I'm walking through Base 7, where we manufacture capacities from 65 ton up to 120 ton, primarily rough terrains with 4 wheels. As we walk through the facility, you'll kind of see our generic process where our cranes are going to come in upside down. We're going to put in all of our hydraulics, our electrical, axles, wheels, and then we'll sub everything else up that's going to go into it, the carrier itself. Here's where we're subframing up an engine. We'll also sub up our transmissions, our tanks. Here in cell 4 is where we're going to do all of our sheet metal, where we're putting in our ladders, our grab handles, our slip-resistant fenders. We'll continue through our process where we'll take our upper frames. We'll take those and we'll add in all of our CAN bus systems, our electrical, our winch packages, our lights. All of that will be staged up and be ready for a mounted operator's cab. Once that operator's cab is complete, we'll take it, we'll deck it on the crane itself, prep it up for startup, and then pull it over to get ready to put our booms on it and then take them out to the test pad. As we continue down our tour here of Base 7, we're coming across a 100 RT. Now we build 5 models again in this bay, and they're all built pretty much the same way. We just use different components. So we build a 65, a 75, 100, and a 120, and most recently we announced a new 85 RT. And here we're in our final stages of our production process on the 85RT. This crane has had the carrier finished, the upper complete. We've mounted the cab, put it on the boom, and now I've sent it through final paint. These gentlemen are doing its final safety inspections and quality inspections before releasing it to our shipping pad for transport. Now, speaking of transport, our new designed 85RT will now transport in 105,000 pounds when fully equipped. If we remove our counterweight, we can transport it down to 86,000 pounds, making it one of the most versatile rough terrain cranes on the market. The 85RT offers something for everyone. So whether you're a crane rental house in BC or a general contractor in Ontario, this crane offers versatility across the board.
Hello CRAC members, I'm Andrew Soper. I'm product manager for on-highway product at Link-Belt Cranes. I cover all-terrain cranes, hydraulic truck cranes, and today I'm going to walk you through what we call Bay 14. This is our dedicated production bay for all-terrain cranes. If you didn't know, we've been producing Link-Belt ATs in Lexington since 2012 with the introduction of the ATC 3275. We have 3 models in the product line, the 275 ton, the ATC 3210, and the new 175 AT. I'm going to walk you through how our process is here and how we get from piece parts and sub-assemblies to a main finished crane. So what you'll see on the left-hand side of the bay here, this is where we're doing some of our major sub-assemblies. You can see the axles going together here. This is axles for a 3275. These are Kessler axles. We have these models in 10x6. Our 175 AT is a 10x8 system. All right, we're also doing engine subs, engine sub-assemblies, engine transmission, engine powertrain. So if you look here, you can see an upper engine for a ATC 3275. This is a QSB Tier 4 final off-highway engine from Cummins. Like the rest of the Link-Belt product, we are Cummins power across the board. Cummins has one of the best service support networks in the engine business, so we're very proud to have them as a partner. We do have 2 different platforms for our all-terrain cranes. We have a 2-engine platform with our 210, 275. We have a single-engine platform with the new 175 AT. So we got that going. So if you look over on the right-hand side of our bay, you see the carrier frame of an ATC 3210. Your chassis continue down the right-hand side of the bay. On the left-hand side of the bay, we have our upper assemblies being stall built. They'll build up the entire upper assembly from the turntable bearing up. So bearing upper frame, hydraulics, winch, engine if it has it, upper cab, he's installing the upper cab and main upper wire harness now. So we got one machine about 75% complete here. This is a 175 AT. This is our newest model, a single engine platform like I said. It's got all the bells and whistles of any all-terrain crane out on the market. Some of the new stuff we've introduced and innovated on is tire pressure and temperature monitoring. That comes as a standard feature. Real-time ground-bearing pressure on your outrigger jacks and beams. We also introduced this new dual occupancy carrier cab. It's got all the creature comforts that any over-the-road truck's going to have, or some that you're going to find in your commercial vehicle. Okay, CRAC members, you've seen our ATC product. Now I'm going to show you what we're best known for. That's our hydraulic truck cranes. This is the newest model in the fleet. We just introduced it at Crane Fest 21. This is the 120 HT. Totally redesigned truck crane from the ground up. It's got an all-new carrier frame, all new suspension, axles, everything. It's got all the bells, some of the bells and whistles that you're going to get with your ATCs, like tire pressure and temperature monitoring. You get V-Calc along with the Pulse 2.0. All right, this vehicle is going to transport efficiently in a boom over the front configuration. You can carry up to 20,000 pounds of counterweight. It's also going to transport efficiently in dolly, where you can carry up to 36,000 pounds of counterweight. In a lot of applications, there's a long drive time, and then the operator's got to get out of the chassis and get into the upper and operate the crane. So we try to minimize driver fatigue by making it a comfortable ride. You got an air ride seat, air ride mounted cab, lumbar support in the cabs as well for the operator's seat. So it's all about comfort for the operator. All right, so to recap the new features on the 120 HT, you've got a new carrier cab, you've got new suspension, new axles with higher rating, you've got improved ride quality. On the upper, you've got the SmartFly, the patented link belt SmartFly is integrated on here. You have a new operator's cab with Pulse 2.0. You have our counterweight detection system, what we're going to call our Smart Stack system. All right, we're going to walk down the rest of Bay 8 here. This is where we produce our truck cranes. On my left hand, you have a HTC 86-100, still going strong for link belt, very popular crane. On the right hand side, we have an HTC 86-75 Series 2. Been around about 15 years, very, very popular crane for us. And then here, this is a T2. This is a HTC 86-110. We introduced this crane at Crane Fest 2015. It's been the market-leading truck crane since its introduction at that time frame. This is the 65 HT. This is about halfway through the production. This is the chassis. It's built up waiting for an upper here. This is the replacement model to the HTC 8660 Series 2. We've put a longer formed boom attachment on it. It's got improved capacities. It's got increased counterweight payload, higher maximum counterweight, and an improved chart relative to its predecessor. That's our on-highway product for you. Thanks for coming along.
Hello, I'm Kelly Feaster, product manager for telescopic crawlers and lattice cranes here at Link Belt. And I'm here in Bay 9, which is our telescopic crawler bay. And we're going to talk a little bit about the product line and talk a little bit about what's going on here in the bay today. This crane behind me is our TCC 800, or 80-ton telescopic crawler crane. So this TCC 800 is 120 feet of full power boom, moves in basically 2 loads, goes together, completely self-assembles, goes together very quickly. Off the truck to time to operating time is very quick. Okay, so we're here in the center of Bay 9 where the telescopic crawler cranes are built. Today our product line goes from the TCC 550 at 55 tons all the way up to our TCC 2500 at 250 tons. And as we walk through the bay here, you can kind of see a little difference in this bay between what you saw with the rough terrain crane bay and the truck bay, in that these pieces are more stall built as opposed to moving down a traditional assembly line. So we're looking at the upper for a TCC 1200 here. It comes in, it gets turned upside down. They do all the lower componentry first, just like they do with the other bays, and then they'll pick it up with the overhead and they'll fly it over to where the lower is already being assembled, and they'll assemble it there at the location of the lower. Please notice everything is finished painted. We pre-paint everything on these cranes just like we do with the rough terrains and the trucks. We use hard hose everywhere we possibly can, unless there's something that causes vibration, and then we have to use a flex hose to limit vibration. As we move on down through here, we see some other componentry sitting around, piece parts for the next build, but the thing I want to show you is just here ahead of us, and that is the next TCC 2500 being built. This crane, as you can see, is a step ahead of what we just saw with the 1200. The lower is finished, the lower componentry is done, the upper componentry is done. This crane has been decked. The car body counterweight has been installed on this crane. You see with the 2500 we have hook and pin side frames just like we do with our large lattice crawler cranes. The 298, the 348 all have hook and pin side frames that work exactly the same as do the TCC 2500. So this crane is in a condition to where it's ready to accept its boom. We're getting ready to boom this crane. The side frames, the crawler frames are finished, and they're ready to be installed, and that'll be the next step for this crane. Okay, so here we are at the beginning of the lattice bay. This is where we manufacture and assemble our lattice for all of our crawler cranes in the product line today. These racks behind me house the lattice and the cord tubing that we use to make the boom sections. As we move forward, we use a laser to cut our tubing for our lattice, and you can see how it cuts the tube at an angle. So it cuts the lattice at the right angle, and it copes the lattice perfectly. So when we actually assemble the lattice onto the cord tube, there's no cleanup necessary. We can just put it on and weld it in position. Here we are out on the shipping pad at Link Belt. It just so happens that we have a 218 HSL here that's getting ready to ship out to the customer. And we wanted to take a minute, take this time to talk about our lattice product line. Some of the things about the product line you may not know is we import the uppers and the lowers from our sister company HSC, and we build all of the lattice boom and the live masts here. The other thing about these cranes is they all are Cummins powered cranes, and those are North American sourced Cummins. We talk about the product line today. We go from 80 tons with our 138 HSL all the way up to 300 tons with our 348 Series 2. And this crane, the 218, 110 tons. Great thing about these cranes, they transport best in class as far as transportation. Self-assembly, they're all designed to self-assemble. This crane here, as far as serviceability, the lower is sealed. There's grease zerks on the turntable. The head machinery is all sealed, the bridle and the bail sealed, so very little daily maintenance for these cranes. So the cranes can go to work and go from shift to shift and with very little downtime due to maintenance. So that goes for the whole of the lattice product line.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. So there's a little touch on really a fast touch on all our product. And again, just to remind everybody, we've got a website where all that can be looked at, videos. We have a huge YouTube channel for our products, as well as our own website, and you can access a ton of stuff. And Bruce Cavan's going to talk to us about that in a minute or two as well. So all the product, we're headquartered here in Lexington, as I said. Our parts distribution center is headquartered here. We're in Lexington, so we have great surface pass. We got north, south, east, west interstate, so our surface transportation is great. Our airport's right here in Lexington. We get the last look from all the major carriers every day of the week. We'll tell them, go out and collect from everybody else, but don't show up here, before 5 o'clock in the afternoon or 6 East Coast time. We load till 8:30 at night, regular freight trucks. So we're in a great location to get your parts orders out the door. And speaking of our parts orders, we're going to show you, we're going to send you out to Troy Crum. Troy's our parts manager, and he oversees a lot of that operation, and he's going to walk you through our parts distribution center, which includes a brand new addition that we just opened up and unveiled really at Crane Fest in September. So you're going to see a little bit of the old and a little bit of the new. So when he tells you something new in here, he's referring to the new warehouse addition, another 35. Well, he'll tell you how big it is. I don't want to get it wrong, so we'll let Troy tell you.
Hi, I'm Troy Crum. I'm the manager of service parts here at Link Belt, and I'd like to take you into the parts distribution center and show you around. This distribution center was opened in '94, and we separated our group into a separate parts center so we could control our orders and our inventory better. All of the orders come in online from our distributors, and then we process them. They go out into the warehouse where they are picked, packed, and pulled and shipped to our customers all over the world. So in 2020, we made the decision we were going to expand our warehouse. So right after ConExpo, we broke ground on a brand new warehouse that will house all of our production parts. And in the meantime, we also then changed how we did things in the existing warehouse. So one of the first things we did was we consolidated all of our receiving into these 3 doors. Now everything that comes in, whether it's for production or service parts, comes through these 3 doors. They're then brought over to locating lanes where they're located throughout our warehouse on whether they're going to production or service parts to be shipped out to our customers. So one of the things we did was we removed our old stationary racks, and we've installed these new safe racks which travel along tracks and more than triple our rack capacity in this area of our warehouse. all of the service parts have been consolidated down to this end of the warehouse in these racks so that it goes right from the racks straight to the service parts shipping area. We have our wood shop down there where we can build any crate, and then we've got our UPS workstations and our FedEx workstations so that everything small pack can be shipped out of here. So here you can see the charging stations for one of our electronic pickers. These pickers then go between all of the aisles, and they take each shop order or each service order and they go through the aisles and they pick out the parts and get them ready for shipment. So now we're going to walk into one of the entrances into the new warehouse. We've got our new racking system for all of our cylinders. All of our boom hoist and telescope cylinders will be stored on these racks. We've also got all of the new parts storage for the hoses and the tubes. So we have 15,000 square feet of storage for hoses. We've got 140,000 square feet of rack space in here. We've got all of the hoses and the tubes on this side of the warehouse because these are the first components we would need to assemble onto the machines. So they're in the location that as we go to assemble the machines, we'll work our way down the warehouse into the larger components. So as you walk through here, you can see that the tubing that we use comes in all different shapes and sizes, and we've got these custom racks that have been built for us to store all of these tubes. So we've got two identical Cardex machines. We've got this one in the new warehouse that'll hold 14,000 square foot of parts. We've got the one in the old warehouse that'll hold 14,000 square foot of parts. You can see the parts have been brought over from the locating lanes. They've got the yellow tags on them, the barcodes, and then they're brought over and put into the Cardex. Now the difference of this Cardex is it also has two heavy trays. So normally in a Cardex you would only be able to put very small and light parts in the Cardex, but this Cardex will hold, each tray will hold up to 2,300 pounds, which is a metric ton. So as you've seen throughout this warehouse expansion, we've made a large capital investment to ensure our customers that they have the best service and support that we can possibly give them. We understand that getting our customers up and running in a timely manner is critical to their bottom lines. And Link-Belt wants to do everything that we can to be at the forefront of the industry to make sure that we are the leader in service and support.
Thanks, Troy. I just recall that puts us at 132,000 total warehouse space out there for product support parts. So thank you very much. So we talked about the product, we talked about the support side. Gary told you about service reps available to support our dealers, the parts we use to support our distribution. Gonna take you to another side of the business right now, which is basically a big part and a growing part. And that's really encompasses what we call preferred, which is for crane owners as far as access to our e-library and all the tools available to you through the internet services we have. So I'm going to introduce you to Bruce Cablin, who manages that for us. And hi, Bruce, take it away.
Hey guys, I'll do a little live stuff for you now instead of the video that you've seen before. Before I jump into Link-Belt Preferred, just want to thank you all for hosting us today for the CRAC members. One of the things that, as Pat introduced me before, that the marketing communications team does is host all of our trade shows and do all the work for the trade shows. As he's talked about, our Crane Fest event was this past fall. We would normally have a BAMA coming up in April, but they've postponed that until October of next year. So we're well underway of getting our product and our designs ready to go to Germany for some more new products. And then 5 months later, we'll be back in Vegas. It just seemed like we were just there with this pandemic, but we're back in Vegas in March of 2023. And that's really our real launching pad for most of our new products because of the North American atmosphere that we're in. We know a lot of you folks from Canada come down to see us in Vegas, so we will welcome you there again in March of next year. So I want to just touch on that again. So we wear many hats, and one of the things we're going to show you now, if I can get my share working here, we'll give you another look at what Pat called our Link Belt Preferred System, which is basically our website that we've created for product support and information across the product, both for new machines as well as old machines, and we'll kind of get into that some when we get there. Hope everybody can see that at this point. This is our public website, but we have something called Link Belt Preferred that you can become a member of very, very easily just by sending in an application. And we'll turn that around in probably 24 to 48 hours, and you'll have access to a lot of the details I'm getting ready to show you right now. So the foundational piece of our product support is our technical manual site. This is something we started back in the late 1990s and actually launched this right at ConExpo in '99, I believe it was. If you have a particular serial number that you're looking for, you just key that in here to get the information about that particular serial number. Just typing in a serial number here for one of our newer cranes, one of our ATs, I believe. Do a search on that, and you click on the serial number here at the bottom. It's going to take you now to all the information pertaining to that particular model, specific to that serial number only. So you have parts manuals, key sheets, service manuals, key sheets, operator schematics. I'm just going to run you through these all very quickly, just so you can get some kind of idea of what the product support looks like for the crane and the investment that you buy. This is all free to the end user. There's no cost involved in any of this. So this is both for the end user as well as the distributors and the folks here internal to Link Belt. And so you're virtually on the same page anytime that you're actually looking for something. So if you're on the phone with someone, if you're a customer, you were talking to one of our distributor mechanics or the service person, they'd actually be looking at the same type of information that you're seeing on this screen. You could actually be looking at the exact same thing that you're seeing on the screen. One of the things that we've improved on in the past probably 10 years is this 3D rendering that you're seeing right now. So not all of our newer cranes have this 3D representation of a parts page. That's pretty cool. And then the cooler part of this is I can scroll down and I can actually take that door off. And now you see the internal components of that crane. And then when I'm waving over a particular part, these are getting highlighted as far as what that part is. We could go into a lot more detail if I had more time to do that. Obviously, I don't today. But we think we're probably a lot of the aeronautics industry uses this. We're probably the only crane company that gets to this kind of detail with 3D rendering on our parts pages. Go to our service page, it's very similar to what we're just showing. We'll go back to another cab assembly area and just look at a particular unit that we're going to be looking at. Go back to the cab house again, and you'll see just a service page that tells you how to recondition that cab tilt cylinder. And you'll see some of that 3D drawings in here as well to kind of launch off of our other engineering documentation, so we can use this as well inside of that. Operations manuals are just that for this particular crane. One of the big things that we've seen is a positive for our service team are the schematics. You can go directly into this particular serial number. The schematics for that particular serial number are listed here. Some have air, electrical, and hydraulic like this one. We'll just look at a hydraulic schematic. Too many times that gets lost in the shop and you've got a dirty copy. So where can I get to my schematics? You used to have to order that from the manufacturer. Now it's right at your fingertips. You can blow that PDF up and print it on a wide printer if you needed to, and then you'd have a clean copy of that immediately. So that's basically a real quick rendition of our Link Belt Preferred e-manual site. We're going to take you into another piece here. If I can get back to where I need to go. Under the gun there a little bit. Let me go back to here. I think, Pat, I've got too many windows going on. I can't see everything I need to see.
Yeah, having access to the shop manual, Bruce, you know, if you're out there, you're watching the clock, you're worried, it's an older crane, whether it's new or old, the old books are also available to you. And you can print out portions of that or all of it. So, and all of that is at no charge. So I think that's a huge plus for customers to be able to get answers.
Yeah, Pat helped me out there as I was getting a problem with my control here. So I'm going to log back in and just show you some of the stuff that he was just talking about. this is how the end user would actually log in. They'd have a username and password. They would go to the site, and then it would take them to the home page that I started from, hopefully. And so we got news about what's going on, the 85 RT that Brian talked about earlier on. But if you got new product information you're looking for on our website, you can find this from our site as well. But if you go into a telescopic truck, for instance, you're looking for literature for an 86-110 that Andrew talked about. There's the brochure. Very quickly, you can see that information on the brochure. That's the same thing that we use to actually print our brochures from. So you have a very nice PDF that, again, if you have a color printer and need that quickly, you can get to pretty readily. Beyond that, go back and we can see our technical data, which is, again, more specifics about capacity, specifications, particular cranes. So again, literature at your fingertips. Back in the old days when Pat and I started, you'd have to order this, and maybe a week later you'd actually get the thing that you were actually looking for. So that shows you that as well. There's a section on here back on the crane site. If you wanted to see a particular literature for an older crane, go back to crane zone, and I'm going to navigate incorrectly, so I'm going to show you that later on. But there's also literature there for older cranes you can get into that date back 60 years. We've been around a long time, and we don't orphan anything from a parts perspective or a brochure perspective. All that's on this site as well. Two of the newer things that Pat wanted me to touch on are two websites. One of those being iCraneTracks, which is our telematics site that we partner with our partner at A1A Software. So this is a RT crane that's located up in New York City. This has a telematics unit on it, so it'll show you the summary of the engine hours, how much fuel has been used for a particular time frame. We also have just an interactive dashboard that would kind of show you. Timed out. Let me get back there. Gee whiz, Pat, sorry about this. But you got a dashboard that would actually show you the use of that particular crane and give you the instant dash that you would actually see what was going on. So we've had this going on since 2000, I think 14 maybe, when we introduced this. Yeah. So we've kind of checked the boxes as far as telematics goes throughout our whole product line. Again, we partnered with A1A Software out of Jacksonville, Florida, who've done this portal for us, and they were also very instrumental in creating our 3D lift plan software that I can show you quickly, hopefully. Again, as Claire said, sometimes we run into some technical glitches, but this is the 3D lift plan site. If you're not familiar with it, you should be. This is kind of the de facto standard in 3D lift planning right now. And as laws have changed, both with OSHA and probably up north too, you have to have a plan before you actually show up on the site. And this makes this very easy to put in obstructions in the building and actually simulate the lift you have before you actually do it. As I said before, I usually go through this in about an hour and a half, and I've done it in about 12 minutes. Yeah. So I'm going to turn it back over to Pat at this point and handle some questions with him and Claire.
Thanks, Bruce. As you said, that's all at no charge to Link-Belt crane owners, 3D lift plan, as well as access through the preferred platform. So a lot of answers available and more to come. So that's a quick run through, Claire, on this end. And we didn't cover everything, but if you want to know more, you might have to come to Lexington. Okay, so let's do that. You know you're always invited here, and we look forward to getting together with you up there next year at our annual meeting. I hope that's on.
Oh, absolutely. We are scheduled to go forward with the live event, Pat, and thank you so much. You know, this webinar series that we launched this year due to COVID has taught me so much. As you know, I don't come from the crane industry. I'm an association executive, and I have learned, and I am constantly in awe not only of the quality of the products and the learning curve going through each of the manufacturers, but especially today, the advancement in technology, graphics, even the material that you make available to your clients. I'm totally in awe of this. I was carefully listening to what everyone was saying, and can you tell me a little bit about Crane Fest? How long have you guys been hosting this event? Do you know?
Yeah, Claire, it seemed that with excuse me, with the cycle of ConExpo and then Bauma, there was a window for a third year event there in between, and we latched onto that. I'm going to say back in '97. Be pretty close. I won't miss it by much. If I say 97 was the first year. We might have done it before that and didn't know it at the time, but we've been at it ever since then. And it's on a off-year cycle to the major trade shows. So, and COVID has messed with Bruce's people planning that just a little bit. You can't imagine. Well, you could. Actually, you can. You know very well. You know very well. So, but we've been doing that probably since '97, every 3 years, which is usually, we work pretty hard at new products. So we're usually able to unveil something there, as well as the major trade shows that are coming up just a year away now, Bruce at Bauma. So we're looking forward to that. But it's an arrive the evening before. Our dealers are instrumental in making this happen. It's a dealer event, and there's an event the night before, which is social. The next day is at the plant, going over the products and the facilities. So it's a quick turnaround, but it's a chance to have some interaction. And it was tough this year with COVID, particularly for our friends in Canada. It wasn't an easy travel task, so it was very, very limited for this round. But we look forward to the next one, get everybody back.
Yeah. So you mentioned 3 years. So you mentioned 3 years. You have Bauma, and then the CNRA.
Then ConExpo.
And ConExpo, and then you also
do an event here. Yes.
Okay. Do you always host in September?
Well, it depends on what's going on, but yeah, it's a good time for us in the fall, and we think it works well typically.
Mm-hmm.
You get away from the summer and the vacations, and things settle down again. Kids back to school, and it works well for us.
When I was listening to the presentation, you also, I couldn't help but really see what COVID has done this year, not only in terms of, challenges, obviously, but the advancement, Pat, of, all this work for the new warehouse expansion. I'm sure it was planned a long time ago, but during COVID, did you see that advancement coming even faster, or did it slow it down, or where was that for you in terms of?
Well, we had that quick. We had to move like everybody did. I bet for viewers, they all experienced their own unique, challenging stuff, and I'll bet you we did nothing different than them. And some of them were even bigger challenges who might not have the resources available. So kudos to them. But for us, it was Zoom meetings or Teams meetings here. And that was reaching to people working from home. A lot of our engineering staff who work in closer quarters. So we separated them out. Some of them went home and stayed home and worked from home. And then we really did all of our meetings that way. To product introduction. Bruce, I'm sure, was going to mention, we did distribution, our dealer sales team meetings for all this new product without going out and telling anybody what was coming. So we had to do it. We had to schedule. We had to do the teams meetings regionally, that kind of stuff. We went through it, and a lot of it is sticking. It will change us for a long time to come, who knows, and some of it for the better, but we find still good to get together in meetings, and there's this exchange and this look, we can talk and emphasize it doesn't happen like this.
Absolutely. So. I totally agree with you, Pat. I mean, when I saw the warehouse expansion, I was very impressed to see the work that's taken place through this pandemic to be able to open up. When did you open the door? Was it this fall as well through Crane Fest?
At the warehouse, Claire? Yeah, just really October 1st, but don't tell anybody, we're still filling a few of the shelves up, but it's pretty much going. And that there's a parts train system that feeds our warehouse that we didn't even get to touch on. And that's pretty significant, bringing product over to the assembly line from that same facility.
Yeah. Quite an impressive team you've got there, but where do you see, you know, the strength of your company? Where are the biggest strengths in Link-Belt, would you say?
Well, our owners, number one, okay. They, as I said, they think in terms of 10 years. There's, you know, if you went back and said, you still want to do this because of the economy flipped quick, they'd say, you know, why do you ask? You said you need it, we do it. So that there's our distributor network, which is very, very strong, which, you know, from a footprint, from what they deliver and their financial wherewithal, that's very big for us. And then there's the people here in Lexington and our size. You know, I said we were a pretty flat company. I don't know about you, but bad news travels at least as fast as good news. I think faster. So when something happens here or there's a challenge to be met, we all know about it real quick. We're all the same time, so we're all at the same address. And a lot of us are in the same building. So there are no reasons we're not up to speed. And for that, I think we can make speedy adjustments. We have no excuse why we aren't on top of adjusting our build or a change in the market or getting an answer to a question. So doesn't mean we always do it, but we don't have a good excuse not to. We really should be able to deliver as well as anybody in the business, and we try very hard to do that.
Yeah, and you do it well. I mean, I have to, on a side note, give kudos to Bill Stramer. Bill has been with the Crane Rental Association of Canada from the very beginning. And when I started with this organization, at the end of a meeting, he took me aside and gave me shared his wisdom with me. And a lot of the changes and improvement that I do believe I've brought through the organization over the years, where Bill was instrumental in that guidance. He's been a great mentor, and I've always really appreciated the time that he's taken to speak with me and provide his view on various issues that we were dealing here up in Canada. So I just wanted to share that with you, Pat, and please give him my regards when you speak to him. I guess the last, thank you. One last question I would have is what's coming next? I mean, you presented today a whole series of new product. Anything coming on the horizon we should keep our eyes on?
I've got a slide with all of our new products here. I'm going to oh, I see the lights flashing over there. Are we timing out? I guess I'm going to have to share that with you on the next edition, okay? But we always have something up our sleeve. Yes, we will have new product, and we're working on it right now. So
that's great to hear. And, you know, we're going to have to do this again.
Let's do it in person. We'll come up. We'll see you next year, June. Is it June?
Actually, in May. The conference will be in Niagara-on-the-Lake, May 16th to the 20th. We actually have moved the conference from the weekend to the weekdays now. So you fly in on Monday. We have Tuesday, the golf and the networking, because we know in this industry more than anywhere else I've ever seen, the networking and meeting people. The human side of this industry always amazes me. And then Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to be meeting, lots to talk about this coming year. And then Friday, people will be free to go or extend their stay and enjoy discovering another part of Canada. So I can only say thank you. Thank you to your entire team for the production of the great video and the recordings. Got to see inside your warehouses, certainly an eye-opening for me and a great learning. So thank you to you and your team. And I sincerely look forward to seeing you in Niagara-on-the-Lake.
See you in May. We look forward to it, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, everybody.